What I mean by power couple is that synergetic partnership, that energy that is built on deep connection, that is built on mutual empowerment and shared purpose. So power couples don't just coexist, they elevate each other. They help each other thrive as individuals and as a unified force. The relationship becomes a source of strength. It becomes a fuel for their growth, for their ambitions, for their overall fulfillment. They also feel like their relationship, rather than being a source of stress or taking their freedom away or holding them back, it's actually the opposite. It becomes a source of power. It's not a liability, it's a resource.
Welcome to the Relationship Diversity Podcast, where we celebrate, question, and explore all aspects of relationship structure diversity, from soloamory to monogamy to polyamory and everything in between, because every relationship is as unique as you are. We'll bust through societal programming to break open and dissect everything we thought we knew about relationships, to ask the challenging but transformational questions: who am I, and what do I really want in my relationships? I'm your guide, Carrie Jaroslaw, best-selling author, speaker, intuitive, and coach. Join me as we reimagine all that our most intimate relationships can become. Today's episode is part of our conversation series. I'm just one voice in this relationship diversity movement, and it's important to bring more unique perspectives into the conversation. Today, I'm talking with Gabriela Embon, an engineer turned relationship coach. We have an insightful conversation about the 4 pillars she feels is foundational for legendary relationships, as well as the key signs of when a couple is drifting apart and ways to move towards reconnection and intimacy. But first, a little about her. Certified coach and author Gabriela Embon believes that a fulfilling adult life hinges on 2 essential components: an ideal career and a thriving primary relationship. In the last 2 decades as a coach, Gabriela has dedicated herself to helping couples build fulfilling and enduring relationships. Gabriela utilizes the analytical and problem-solving skills from her engineering background and applies them to the intricacies of human relationships. By combining the precision of engineering with the emotional depth of human behavior, she empowers couples to transform their relationships and become a power couple. Let's get into the conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Relationship Diversity Podcast. I've got a great guest for you and a topic that I am really excited to learn a lot about, especially being in a long-term marriage. Today, I have coach and author Gabriela Embon, and she has written an incredible book that, when I first read the title, I was thinking, I don't know what this book is going to be about. And I was really excited to read it because it was not what I thought. The book is titled Becoming a Power Couple: 4 Pillars to Engineer Legendary Marriages. Well, I have a specific vision when I hear the word power couple. And let me tell you, it is not what I thought. We're going to get all into this in this discussion today. So welcome, Gabriela, to the podcast.
Hello, Carrie. Thank you for having me.
For people who don't know anything about you, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you have a really interesting story. And I think it's the inspiration of how you got into your work. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about it.
So you probably mean the wedding cancellation story?
Oh, all of it, your background story, because I always feel that people get into their work and are inspired by what they do because of something that has happened in their life. And from what I've read from your story, that is no different.
Well, there are 2 stories that really impact what I do or influence what I do. One is definitely my wedding cancellation. So yes, I've been married it's going to be 27 years soon. But 3 years before I got married to my husband, I canceled another wedding that I had scheduled with another fiancé a month before. I had a dream that I was entering the altar, and the person waiting for me was not my fiance at the time. It was actually my husband today. And the next day, while we were having a heated argument with my fiance, I just out of nowhere said, "That's it, this is over, I'm canceling the wedding." So that definitely led me to the work that I do today. And I think the other story that influences what I do, or not what I do, but how I do it, is the fact that I did a career change from being a chemical engineer to becoming a coach. So I would say that even though I started my career as a chemical engineer, I very quickly learned the art of problem solving, system optimization, precision systems. And that influences the way I coach today, because I realized that anything that is worth creating and it is extraordinary becomes extraordinary due to the commitment, the implementation of systems and course correction, and not just expecting things to be good just because I created them. So that commitment to constantly improve and measure and see where I am and where I want to be and how do I close that gap, that is very much influenced by my engineering mindset.
I love that because I have said pretty much for, I don't know, as long as I've been in relationship, which has been a pretty long time, is that we're never taught how to be in relationships. We're not really given tools. We are expected to just figure it out. And we're figuring it out many times from the dysfunction that we've learned about relationships from. And a lot of it sits on a subconscious level. And so having these tools that you're talking about and having some structure to relationships, I think could be really, really helpful. In your book, you've written about these 4 pillars. I love this idea of having an engineer mindset to apply it to relationships and intimate relationships. How did you come up with these pillars? We will get into the pillars at some point, but I'd love to hear how you started to structure. Was it through your own relationship that you started to figure these things out? Was it through your coaching? How did they develop?
It was a combination of my personal experience, obviously, my long-term marriage, but also coaching individuals. I actually became very aware that despite marriage being very culturally influenced and very personal, and like you said, everybody brings the model they saw at home into their marriage, there are still best practices that we need to apply, or we want to apply if we want to create a legendary marriage that people are not necessarily aware of. Many people were not aware of. And that's when I realized that actually there are certain things you don't do, and there are best practices you definitely want to have in place. And that truly led me to develop that framework of the 4 pillars that unpacks for people the 4 foundational pillars that we want to focus on, so every couple can thrive no matter how long they've been together and no matter what they saw at home as well.
Yes. So could you give us an idea of what these 4 pillars are?
So the 4 pillars are the me, that's the first one, and the order is important. So the me is all about working on myself, personal development, personal responsibility and accountability for my happiness, self-awareness, self-care, self-love. So that's the me pillar. The second one is the you, which means you, your partner, the person that I'm sharing this life with. Just how do I treat you, see you, is the friendship, the generosity, the not wanting to change your partner, but actually accepting your partner and leveraging their positive qualities and helping them resolve their negativity as well with kindness. The third pillar is the hour, which is looking at the relationship as a partnership. So everything that is our life, our home, our assets, our children, our finances, our vision, how do together create the best life? I like to say that your home should become a dream factory where everybody's dream gets created. And then we have the last pillar is the us. And us is all about this sacred union, is the deepest intimate bond, the intimacy at the physical level, emotional level, spiritual level. So when you have the first 3 pillars in place, you naturally create the fourth one, which is the S. If we have pillar 1, 2, and 3 without the S, then we're great roommates, but we're not a couple.
So, working with clients, is there one of the pillars that you're finding people have more difficulty with?
Definitely the S, that intimacy. And that's usually because the root cause is usually another pillar that is not in place, because the idea is to build that deep connection. So there are best practices for each pillar that are shared in the book. How do I develop each pillar? So the first one is the me. When that one is non-existent, when everybody's blaming each other for their own unhappiness, then it's very difficult to build the others. But usually couples who are not active in that pillar don't reach out for help. They usually reach out for help after everybody is taking off, at least one partner is taking care of their own happiness and doing their personal work and self-development. And they say, how do I now gap between, okay, I'm working on myself, and how do I now bring the other pillars? Because until we start working on ourselves, the connection can get eroded a little bit. So we start letting go of the other pillars. If I'm in pain, I'm not interested in the you, I'm not interested in the hour, I'm not interested in the us. So I find that most couples reach out for help when they have the first one. They are aware, I have to stop blaming you. I need to take care of my own wounds and not use my partner as a punching bag and not outsource my happiness to my partner. But now that I'm doing that, I don't know how to actually gap the other pillars. And that's when they reach out.
You talk about the key signs that a couple starts drifting apart and what they can do to reconnect before it's too late. I would think that if there has been like a breach of trust or things that have been swept under the carpet for whatever reasons, just busy life, that there is that gap that's needing to be bridged. How do you help people start to recognize and understand what that is and how to move from the gap to the connection?
So you're absolutely right. There are certain signs that we can look for that are signaling to us that the couple is drifting apart. I can tell you a few of them. Conversations become very surface level, very transactional. So you talk about logistics, hopefully, at least that. But there are no deeper conversations about dreams and about emotions and personal growth. Another sign, obviously, is less physical affection and intimacy. And not just sex, touch, hugs, kisses. So that's another one. That feeling that we might be roommates instead of partners, as we were talking about. Another one is that we're fighting all the time, of course. That is a very obvious one. Almost an increase in irritability or misunderstandings. We're not in the same wavelength. We don't understand each other. We don't want the same things. It's very difficult to align. One that it makes me almost feel sad is when people feel like they're no longer each other's first call for exciting moments or for hard moments. I know that when something like that happens, I'm like, I can't wait to tell my husband. You are my first point of contact, always. And not just in any form, emergency contact, but really, my heart has you as the first point of contact. And like, you're my best friend. You're my confidant. You're my go-to person. And another one that I see is a sign of the relationship eroding or the bond of trust eroding is lack of share rituals or inside jokes. That in the beginning, it's very easy to have those inside jokes or playfulness. So these are the signs that we start seeing. And then the relationship doesn't become fun anymore. It doesn't become a source of strength. It becomes a liability. So in fact, I mostly work with people that are in second marriages that want to be very proactive, and they're very sensitive to those signs. So the moment they can spot one of these signs, they will reach out and say, oh, we want to make sure we don't make the same mistakes, that we don't arrive to the same divorce. I have a lot of clients that are second marriages that want to do it right this time, want to have their best practices to overcome conflict and life, because it's not about avoiding, it's about how do I overcome and go through this life together with you, despite the adversity or whatever is going on in our lives. So that's one group of people. And the other one is I tend to attract a lot of couples who, at least one of them, are very career oriented, very driven, and the concept of work life balance is completely different than you would consider with people who have normal careers. Usually, it's people in the technology industry, in the finance industry, that they have crazy working hours or being connected 24/7, pretty much on call 24/7. In fact, I was talking to a couple, and the husband works in technology. And I said, I solved the problem that the type of connection that technology cannot solve. So these are the two type of clients that I usually attract.
I find that that kind of balance, specifically with the couple and then all of life, to keep that connection alive is a real challenge. It's a real challenge. And so I think the intentionality and seeking out help. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and therapy was looked at a certain way of being, oh, you've got problems, you need therapy. But I really do believe that therapy, coaching, having someone to help see things that maybe you're blind to because of your wounding is really important to start. I knew a couple that started therapy from the very beginning, from when they were dating. And I just thought that was such a great idea to really be looking at the relationship and working on the relationship. So this is an audio podcast, but I'm looking at you and you have your book in the background, and I see the power couple part of the title really standing out. Can you define your definition of a power couple?
This is one of the most common questions I'm asked because, like you said, the perception of that word is usually of two people who are very wealthy and have that lifestyle. So, no, what I mean by power couple is that synergetic partnership, that energy that is built on deep connection, that is built on mutual empowerment and shared purpose. So, power couples don't just coexist, they elevate each other. They help each other thrive as individuals and as a unified force. The relationship becomes a source of strength. It becomes the fuel for their growth, for their ambitions, for their overall fulfillment. They also feel like their relationship, rather than being a source of stress or taking their freedom away or holding them back, it's actually the opposite. It becomes a source of power. It's not a liability, it's a resource. And that's basically the way we look at what a power couple is. And there's a beautiful sign. We were talking about the signs of disconnection, but let's talk about the signs of being a power couple.
Yeah.
Is when you give unconditionally. In the beginning of the relationship, the honeymoon phase, we think this is when we're giving unconditionally. But in the matter of fact, this is when we actually are giving conditionally. Why? Because in the beginning of the relationship, I can feel all this love for you. So I want to win your heart. I want to secure the relationship. Therefore, I will do whatever it takes. But there's a hidden agenda behind it. There's also an underlying worry or fear or doubt. Will you say yes? Will I secure you as my partner? Will I win your heart? Therefore, I am giving to earn something. Once we secure that relationship and we move into the second phase of the relationship, most couples actually stop investing as much. But in fact, if we keep investing in that second phase, when I'm not worried about you, I know I have you, I know you said yes. So that doubt, that fear is gone. Then I am being generous. I am a giver just for the sake of giving. No hidden agenda, not to appease a worry, a fear. And now, giving in that stage, if you continue giving as you were giving in phase one, when you had a hidden agenda, it generates a genuine joy because you're giving worry free, fear free. So that is felt by the other person, by the way. And you feel that joy of giving that way. that is also a way to identify if your synergy feels like that power couple. When you're giving, not because you have to or not because you want to secure something, because you can't wait to give.
How would you help a couple who has had that breach of trust, but just kind of swept it under the carpet because they're like, we got to just survive. We got to get through. We have work, we have kids, but we want to find our way back to each other? What are maybe one or two ways that you would help someone or a couple find their way back to each other?
So we are going to work on two different levels. We're going to work on the individual, the first pillar, the me, working separately with each one of them for them to resolve their own negativity, the baggage that they bring into their relationship that the other person actually is very guaranteed to trigger. Mm-hmm. So we're going to work on that and how to also react when your partner triggers your wounds. Do you lash back? Do you get angry? Or do you own it and see it as an opportunity to clear it? So that's one, that's on the personal level. And then we also work as a couple in different ways. We work as a couple on bridging first the awareness of each other's differences. I like to do people's human design and share with them how they are designed to create, so they can see each other's differences as a strength and not as why are you not like me or more like me. Once we create that bridge of awareness, we go into the strategies to start creating a vision together, and then having the best practices. We literally work on best practices for each pillar to start building the bond of trust again. The beauty about connection is that it can get rekindled.
That's what I was going to ask, is do you think that if both people in the couple are really willing to do the work, that there's always the chance and the possibility of reconnection, regardless of how much disconnection there has been?
Absolutely. Same as you could start a new connection with another person, you can restart this connection with a new person, which is your partner. People change if you're willing to see them differently. It's not about, is it possible or not? It's more about, are you really committed? Not interested, but committed, because there's a big difference. Interested means that as long as it works, as long as the other one says yes, then I'll try. Committed means I'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, even if my partner is not on board yet. Sometimes it's only one that is showing up for the relationship. And that tends to be enough in the beginning, by the way.
Oh, really?
So when we say, well, the other person is not interested, I mean, if they are already completely 1 foot out, that's fine. But if the other person is not really, it's more being cautious. Yeah, I don't know. Then there's so much you can start with. Yeah. And then
that would be really starting on the me pillar.
That will be starting on the me, not just the me, is how you treat your partner too. That will be starting on being the me pillar and being the giver, even when your partner is not reciprocating. That can help your partner jump on board later on. We've seen that.
Really?
So we don't need to have both of them at the same time jumping on board. We can have first one, and that will draw the other person, because our energy is very powerful. And when we do our work, when we shift our vibration, our partner can shift their own, and then they will open up to join you.
Yeah, I believe that. And I've had that experience myself. I had this experience with my dad. I always wanted him to be different, but it wasn't until I did my own healing. And then it was like magic, seriously. He said things to me like, wow, I never even thought he would ever say that kind of thing to me. And it wasn't even me talking to him about it. It was me shifting and healing the stuff within me that really shifted my relationship with him.
So if you experience that with your dad, and we can experience that with other people, definitely at work, friendships, imagine what we can experience in a partnership with our spouses, because the relationship with your spouse is the most intimate relationship you will ever have. Also, it's a relationship you chose, unlike your parents. Well, your parents you choose at the soul level, but not consciously. But your partner you chose consciously. So this is the most powerful and the most important relationship you have, where the most amount of growth and opportunity occurs. So we shouldn't underestimate the power of one partner starting the process until the other one joins.
I think that's really powerful because I have heard a lot that you need both people to be in it to have success, I guess, or to reconnect. And I think there's something to that. And what I'm hearing you say is that you can really start the work, start it yourself without your partner being fully in yet.
If you're committed, yes, because commitment means you'll do it even on days that you don't feel like, even when your partner doesn't reciprocate. You don't need permission from your partner, approval, or their reciprocity in order to do the right thing. You just need to decide to do it.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm putting myself in that place of I'm giving to my partner, and my partner's not giving back to me. And that's going to probably trigger me.
If you're giving, and getting triggered for not receiving, you're not really giving.
That's a great point.
You're actually taking.
Interesting. So go into that a little bit more.
So giving means that I give for the joy of giving, regardless of the result. Like when you start a business, you invest in a business even when you don't see results because you are committed to make it work. So here's the same. If you are giving for the sake of receiving, you're not really giving. You're actually taking. I'm giving because this is the person that I want to be. I want to be a giver, and I want to know that I'm putting everything that I have in making this relationship work. So if for some reason it doesn't work, we end up breaking up, I'll be at peace that I learned my part. And learning how to give unconditionally is one of the purposes of the relationship. The purpose of the relationship is unity. And the way to create that unity is to give unconditionally. So if you feel you're sacrificing, if you feel like a victim, we need to go back to pillar number 1. You want to work on yourself. You want to work on that so you can learn to give unconditionally. And your partner is going to help you do that. And maybe the way your partner is helping you learn that is by not giving back, by not having that reciprocity where you say, oh, this relationship is energetically balanced. It might not be balanced in the beginning. We ideally want it to be balanced, but we want our partner to give us not because we deserve it. And we want to receive from them not because, well, I gave you, so you should give me. We want to receive because we make them feel the joy of giving unconditionally to us.
That is really good.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's not, obviously, it's our work.
Yeah. And I see how you're talking about it, that it's not like mastering a pillar, then going to the next pillar, then mastering that. It seems like you're going back and forth throughout the pillars as like, oh, we're going to work on pillar 1 first. And then when we get to pillar 2, we're going to be learning more things that are going to make pillar 1 stronger, to make pillar 2 stronger. I feel like you're going around working on each one in the order, but then fortifying them as you're moving throughout the other pillars.
Right. You need to have the systemic view in this case. Even when you look at the process, let's say when I was working for Intel, we were creating at the time Pentium 4. Mm-hmm. So the process is made of different steps, but you're not working on improving each step one at a time. You have to have a systemic view. This is where the systemic view happens. If you have a problem with one pillar, let's say you're not aligning on your vision, you're not collaborating, you're not communicating, the third pillar, the hour. We want to have the 3 C's: communication, coordination, collaboration. So you're always arguing, you didn't know I have this, I thought you were picking up the kids, stuff like that. That's the third pillar. It's not about just fixing that pillar. You have to wear the diagnostician hat and understand, okay, we seem to be completely disconnected. Where's this coming from? Is it that I'm holding resentment because you're triggering some of my own stuff, so it's the first pillar? Is it that I feel you always want to change me, so it's also the second pillar? So we want to look at this as a system. There is a systemic where things are intertwined, and look for the root cause, but know that that root cause is going to affect all the other pillars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You talked about that shared vision. I want to go into that a little bit more of what that could look like and how that shared vision could be the thing that helps to really connect a couple.
Definitely. I just want to add for what I was saying, and then I'll definitely answer your question. When couples are intimate, looking at the fourth pillar, that adds a dose of vitamins for all the other pillars because people feel the togetherness, the unity. So they work in the hour as a unit, communicate, they coordinate, they collaborate, they're friends with each other, which is the second pillar, they're generous, which is the second pillar. And they also feel stronger to take care of my own things rather than just blame my partner when you trigger me, which is the first pillar. So you see how the pillars are interconnected, but the fourth pillar, yes, it needs the first three to exist, but at the same time, when we fortify the fourth pillar, we're fortifying all the other ones.
I can see that definitely with the intimacy and open-heartedness and grace with each other is, to me, like you said, it's not just a sexual intimacy. It is really, I think sometimes emotional intimacy is even harder because there's a vulnerability that is necessary for that and a trust.
That's right. Trust is a must.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So shared vision, what could that look like? And how could a couple sit down and say, what is our shared vision? Do we have a shared vision for one? And if not, how do we come up with a shared vision?
So we usually have, everybody has their own vision. We pretty much know what we want. Sometimes not, but for the most part. And the idea is to make it, like you said, a shared vision. But usually the challenge in that is what happens when we want different things.
Yeah.
So differences don't have to divide the couple. Okay. In fact, they can help create a rich or more dynamic vision, if you call it that way. So the way to create a shared vision is to start with an open conversation and say, okay, where do we want to see ourselves in 5 years from now? And you want to answer that individually and then actually share. And you might see, do we want the same things? Do we want difference? Maybe your partner says, oh, I want to be retired and living in a warm weather. And someone else says, no, there's no way I want to move. I'm not moving. Or I don't see myself retiring in 5 years. So you want to look at where do you want to be in 5 years? So that's one thing. And then rather than compromising, or if you have different ideas, feeling like I have to give up my own vision for yours, that's not a shared vision, by the way. But when you see there's a difference, no matter what discussion you're having, actually, when you have a difference, that's a sign you have to go deeper. And going deeper in this case will be, what do we both truly want at our core? Because you might actually want the same, but see the implementation of that differently. What might seem like different desires on the surface actually can have deeper meaning or deeper alignment that you want to search and dig and find and explore what truly matters to both of you. So that's one thing that
so play that out a little bit in this scenario, because this is a great scenario. I want to retire and move to the Caribbean, and my partner loves his work and wants to stay in upstate New York and where it's cold and snowy. And so we go below that and we say, no, what we really want is we want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel comfortable in our skin. I want to be more quiet and enjoy some introspection, shifting from going. And he wants to continue thriving from doing lots of things. And so we want to feel fulfilled. That's below that. How do you reconcile that two people want different things?
So again, you want to go deeper. Why is this important for you? Why do you want that? What is that you're actually seeking? And then you want to together brainstorm what possible option, because you brought two different options, moving to the Caribbean, staying in upstate New York. There must be a third option that can fulfill both of us. So maybe is that we spend 6 months here, 6 months there. That's the easy one. But maybe is that we actually end up moving, but you move your operations in your business to more of an online platform. But how can I do it? There's no way I can do this online. I have to go to the office. I have to be there. I have to talk to the people. And you know what? We're talking 5 years from now. So how can you redesign and prepare your career so in 5 years from now, you can continue providing the same level of impact and service without having to presently be there, without having to go to your office, doing it remotely? I can tell you that when I was teaching coaching in person, I could not see myself teaching online until the pandemic hit. So there's always a new way that we said, there's no way I'm going to do it. I think this is what you want to explore.
I can see where your engineering can really come in this particular scenario, meaning that two people want different things, seemingly want different things, because it all comes down to problem solving. It's not that it's a problem, but it's like, oh, this is an interesting equation that seems like two disparate elements, but how can they come together to get everyone what they need? And I have a mantra, there's always a solution. And even having the mindset of there's always a solution, to be creative in how everyone can get what they need and feel fulfilled. It does take problem solving, though, I think.
It does. And if
creativity.
You feel like you are a unity, then you fuel each other's creativity. And it's totally okay to say we don't see a solution at the moment, but we're looking 5 years from now. So we're going to leave it open, knowing that the path will reveal itself because it's what truly happens. And it's really the intention too. So the intention is we're looking for a path that will reveal itself, that will satisfy both of us, our dreams as individuals and as a couple and as a family. So that's one aspect of the shared vision. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Another aspect of a shared vision is what kind of milestones are we looking in for the next year? I'll give you an example. Last year, beginning of 2024, we had this meeting with my husband and we said, okay, this year, both of us are turning 50. So what's your vision? How do you want to celebrate it? So we brainstorm on that. We look at different options and what we truly want. And then we plan for a way of celebrating our 50th birthday together. Do you want a party? Do you want an experience? Do you want an experience, the two of us with the children, with friends? So that's part of having a shared vision. You want to have a shared vision for your finances, obviously. You want to have a shared vision for how you're going to invest your money or grow your money. Are you going to buy real estate? Are you going to invest in the stock market? And who's going to do what? Because not everybody has to be an expert in everything. A shared vision about your children and how to best support them. So everything that is including what we personally want, our own dreams, mostly is about aligning in a common vision. But to align in a common vision, you have to bring your partner on board. They have to know what you want. You have to know what they want. And when you have that vision, then decisions along the way are easier because you are measuring those decisions based on, is this where we want to go? Or is this really a detour that doesn't belong in that path?
I know that in my relationship, when I have had shared visions in both of my relationships, that always brings us closer. I always feel there are those moments where it's like, ooh, that vision isn't exactly what I was thinking, but I feel really lucky that I have a theater background because theater background helps me be very creative in thinking outside the box, which I think would be really helpful having a coach like Gabriela to help you think outside the box, because there's a lot of times I think we get stuck in our own ways and we just need someone outside of our minds to help us with that. Can you talk a little bit more about your coaching and how people work with you, how they find you, and a little bit about your process?
Yes, absolutely. People can find me on my website. That's the easiest way, or on social. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram under my name, Gabriela Embon. And my website is also my name, gabrielaembon.com. People can send me a message. I usually meet for a free consultation. However, today in the marketing world, you should describe that meeting, but truly is to learn more about where you are what you're looking for and see if I can help you and how. So that's really the best way. And then based on where you are and where you want to be, it's always based on where you want to be that we're going to tailor a process for you. You might already have a vision. If you don't have a vision, we will definitely put that in the first 2 meetings, because I have to be able to tell a couple, close your eyes and imagine you are 5 years into the future. Describe your day together. Describe your family. Describe the way you feel physically. Are you going to the gym? Are you fit? Are you healthy? So not everybody needs that. Some couples already have a vision, others need to develop it. So the process is more, it's based on the framework of the 4 pillars, but we're going to see what is exactly that you want. It's not a one process fits all. Right. We're going to tailor it to your needs. And that's why it's so important to have that meeting with me, so we know this is what you're looking for.
And you work with individuals and couples. If there is one of the people in the couples that is more resistant or not ready, I would say, to do the work, would you start with an individual?
Yes, exactly, for the same reasons that I say. Sometimes it takes one to get the ball rolling, and it's never a waste of time for you to do your work. You are in this relationship to do certain work, to learn. Whether you stay or not, you want to do your work, because otherwise you obviously are going to repeat it in your next relationship. So yes, there are clients that I start with one. And then at a certain point, the person is going to invite their partner to join. And the partner will join when they see that their spouse is changing. They almost say, okay, prove it to me first. I want to see that you are better. So then I'm going to believe. And I find this is the best way, because actions and way of being speaks louder than words, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Like I said earlier, it is so helpful to have someone to guide you through your stuff, because we're naturally don't love to be in discomfort. And so sometimes we need to be pushed through it, because there's no really getting around it. I think getting around it is what is sweeps things under the carpet. And then you find yourself really disconnected from your partner. So I highly recommend reaching out to Gabriela if she's speaking to you, and some of the stuff that the way that she looks at relationships is resonating with you. Please go reach out to her to get some help. And lastly, what I would really like to talk a little bit more about is the book, how people can get the book. Again, it is called Becoming a Power Couple: 4 Pillars to Engineer Legendary Marriages. And we're going to have the links for everything in your website in the show notes. But tell us how people can get a copy of the book. And also, I think you have a download that people can get the prologue of the book, so they can get an idea of your writing and your thoughts.
So absolutely. So I just want to say this is a very easy read. Don't forget, I'm an engineer. So I don't have the patience to read long books or books that are big on words, but they're not straight to the point. I get quite impatient in those cases. So the book is very practical, very pragmatic. It's an easy read, very straight to the point, walks you through the 4 pillars, but in a very graceful way, and inspires you to believe in the power of the relationship and that it's possible.
I second that. I have read the book, and I really appreciate the getting to the point, but you do give a lot of hope in it. So there's a beautiful balance between those two things.
Thank you. And then at the end, you have a chapter with all the exercises and best practices according to each pillar. So you can find everything in one place. So if you listen to this episode and you are ready to dive into the book, definitely Amazon is the best way to find it. On Amazon, Becoming a Power Couple, or just Google Amazon, search my name, Gabriela Embon, you will see the book. If you're not sure yet, you can start by reading the prologue and downloading the prologue for free. And that you can be done at becomingapowercouple.net.
Oh, great. Okay. So we will link that. So you can go down into the show notes, and you don't even really have to think. Just click on the link and sign up to get this prologue of the book. And I will say that I have read the entire book, and it is so helpful. So as we're winding up, Gabriela, I'm wondering, do you have any final thoughts that you can send out into the world? Because this podcast is listened all over the world. Any words of hope to send out?
Like I said, most of my clients are people who have very demanding careers. And I always tell them emotional ROI is as important, if not more, than financial ROI. Okay. People can achieve great success in their careers, but without somebody to share your life with, without somebody to celebrate your achievements with, without that strong, thriving relationship, something always feels incomplete. And you don't have to compromise on less than a great relationship. Even if right now your relationship feels far from that, there's always a way when there's a willingness. So for always my message is it's possible.
I love that. Thank you for leaving us with that thought, because we need that kind of hope. And I have interviewed many different people who say similar things, that your relationship may feel really lost, but there is always possibility for reconnection with
That's right.
information and awareness and guidance. And Gabriela, you give us all of those things. So thank you so much for being here. Everyone, please go connect with Gabriela. She has so much wisdom in so many areas. Gabriela, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Carrie, for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to the Relationship Diversity Podcast. Want to learn more about relationship diversity? I've got a free guide I'd love to send you. Go to www.relationshipdiversitypodcast.com to get yours sent right to you. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast. You being here and participating in the conversation about relationship diversity is what helps us create a space of inclusivity and acceptance together. The more comfortable and normal it is to acknowledge the vast and varied relating we all do, the faster we'll shift to a paradigm of conscious, intentional, and diverse relationships. New episodes are released every Thursday. Stay connected with me through my website, carriejaroslow.com, Instagram, or TikTok. Stay curious. Every relationship is as unique as you are. Are you wondering why you never seem to find lasting fulfillment in your relationships? Or do you create the same kinds of relationship experiences over and over again? Can you never seem to find even one person who you want to explore a relationship with? Have you just given up hope altogether? If this sounds like you, my recent book, Why Do They Always Break Up With Me, is the perfect place to start. The foundation of any relationship, whether intimate or not, is the relationship we have with ourselves. In the book, I lead you through 8 clear steps to start or continue your self-exploration journey. You'll learn about the importance of self-acceptance, gratitude, belief shifting, and forgiveness, and given exercises to experience these life-changing concepts. This is the process I use to shift my relationships from continual heartbreak to what they are now, fulfilling, soul-nourishing, compassionate, and loving. It is possible for you. This book can set you on a path to get there. Currently available through Amazon or through the link in the show notes.